The movie begins in a world that has been destroyed by a disaster. Renton wakes up in a bedroom next to his ex-girlfriend, Hannah. Just as they're waking up, three masked men burst into the room, dragging Renton away. Renton struggles to escape, but when one of the men grabs him, he ends up being pushed down the stairs and killed. But then Renton suddenly wakes up in the same bed, and the clock shows it's the exact same time as before. The sequence starts over, and the men again break into the room and take him to a lab. In the lab, Renton and Hannah are tied to chairs, and the men start threatening them. The leader of the group explains that the man lying dead on the floor is their cousin, nicknamed Kuzor. Kuz was electrocuted by a strange machine that Renton built. The leader introduces himself as father and introduces the other two as brother and sonny. They're here for Renton's scripts, something he has. Father tells the group they have 5 minutes to think about what to do while he and the others go to the kitchen for a snack. Renton, sitting there, realizes the apples they have are some of the last left in the world. He drags his chair over to a nearby desk and tells Hannah that the men must have been following her when she came to visit the day before. He admits that he should have known she was being watched. Renton picks up a pair of scissors using his teeth and drops them onto the floor. He then falls down on purpose, reaching out to grab the scissors with his hand. After that, he uses the scissors to cut the ropes and free both himself and Hannah. Once they're free, Renton quickly shuts the door behind them. He looks closely at the dead man on the floor and thinks he recognizes him. He believes it's one of the people who arrested him years ago. Hannah, curious about Renton's machine, starts to touch it, but Renton stops her just in time. He tells her it's dangerous because the machine is rigged with 20,000 volts. Renton explains that the machine is called ARQ, which stands for Arcing Recursive Quine. He believes the men are after the machine, but Hannah doesn't agree. She thinks the men are probably just hungry, like most people. Renton, however, insists that the men aren't here for food. He thinks they've been sent by his former employer, the Taurus Corporation, to take the machine back after he stole it. Though Renton doesn't like to call it stealing because he built the machine himself while working as an engineer for the company. After putting on a taser glove for protection, Renton tells Hannah to stay in the room while he sneaks out to deal with the men. He watches them in the kitchen as they eat and watch TV. The news on the TV talks about the energy wars, where the Taurus Corporation is taking control of everything. It also mentions a rebel group called Block, who are fighting against the corporation. Hannah eventually joins Renton as he watches the men. To distract them, Renton throws something on the floor to make a noise, which causes the men to leave the kitchen. When they do, Renton quickly punches Sonny, knocking him out. He tries the same with Father, but this time, Father stabs Renton with a knife, and Renton dies from the wound. The same thing happens again. Renton wakes up in bed next to Hannah at the exact same time, just like before. He tries to warn her about the men coming to take them, but once again, they're captured and taken to the research room. As Renton hears Father's words again, he realizes something. It's a time loop, and only he knows what's going on. He tries to explain this to Hannah, but she thinks he's lost his mind. Determined to escape, Renton goes through the same process of using the scissors to free them, but Hannah doesn't believe him. Renton checks his computer and figures out that the ARQ machine is what's causing the time loop. He proves his theory to Hannah by correctly guessing that Kuz, the dead man on the floor, has a scar before taking off his mask. They try to escape again, but this time, instead of going to the usual place, they head to the basement. Renton makes a plan to kill the men, which makes Hannah uncomfortable. Renton takes out 2 gas masks to protect them, while he sets up a way to release cyanide gas into the house through the furnace. This surprises Hannah because it shows that Renton has a lot of electricity, something that's very rare. The plan is for Renton to turn up the thermostat, and once the furnace starts, Hannah will throw a gas canister into the chute. Renton heads to the hallway outside the kitchen, hurrying to connect the thermostat as the men chase after him. He avoids them by hiding in the bedroom. When he sees that the furnace has been turned on, he leaves his hiding spot and goes to the research room, where the men have Hannah. She admits she wasn't able to kill anyone. After being tied up again, Renton agrees to cooperate, and he opens the safe where he keeps his money and scripts. Now that they have what they wanted, Father decides he should shoot Renton, since Renton knows their faces. But Hannah stops him, saying she doesn't want anyone to get hurt. Then it's revealed that Hannah is working with the men. They even call her Mother. Hannah reminds the men that they are part of the Block, and they don't kill innocent people. Renton tells her that he would have given her the scripts if she had just asked. But before he can say more, Sonny shoots him. Renton wakes up in bed again and quickly rushes to block the door. But the rebels come in anyway, and once again, they're captured and tied up in the research room. Renton manages to free himself, but he can't free Hannah. He asks her to tell him her story while he checks the computer. Renton remembers that when Taurus arrested him years ago, he escaped, but they caught Hannah. She was interrogated for 3 days. They let her go after she promised she had nothing to do with Renton stealing their scripts. As Renton watches a video of the two of them that he doesn't remember recording, Hannah tells him that Taurus took her citizenship and their home and sent her to a refugee camp. Hannah asks Renton to cooperate with the men, but he tells her he's already tried that. He then takes her to the basement, pretending his back hurts to distract her. While she's distracted, he shocks her with electricity. Then he tells her his own story. Renton explains that when he first said the ARQ machine could generate endless energy, his bosses called him a fraud. But when they found out it worked, they wanted to take it from him to use in their war machine. Renton admits that he knows Hannah is mother and wonders if she really is part of the block or if Taurus turned her. Hannah shows him the torture scars left by Taurus and admits that she's a freedom fighter for the block. Renton tells Hannah that he never stopped looking for her, but she says she still hates him. They put on the masks and head to the kitchen. There, Hannah uses the glove to electrocute Sonny, and Renton threatens the others with the gas canister. They take the men to the research room and tie them to chairs. It's then revealed that Father, whose real name is Grimm, is actually Hannah's boyfriend. Renton asks Hannah to leave with him and sends her to the kitchen to get something to eat. While she's gone, Renton kicks Sonny and punches brother for what they did to him. When he tells Grimm that Hannah will leave with him, Grimm attacks. Renton powers up his glove and punches Grimm, but Hannah shows up just in time to stop him. Renton tells her that he'll give the block the scripts if she agrees to come with him, but Hannah refuses and points a gun at him. Renton doesn't believe she'd actually shoot him, so she shoots the ARQ machine instead, forcing Renton to agree to cooperate. He's pretending to go along with it, and when he tries to grab the gun from her, he's accidentally shot and killed. When Renton wakes up again, he realizes that Hannah now remembers the time loop too. The events happen like before, and when they were alone in the research room, Renton frees them with the scissors. He checks the computer and finds that all the loops have been logged. There have been 5 loops, and each one always starts and ends at the same time. The ARQ is causing everything to repeat, and when Hannah asks how it works, Renton explains that the ARQ uses fuel cells to power itself, and the ARQ charges the fuel cells in return. However, he doesn't know how it affects time. Hannah wants to use the ARQ to help their cause and asks Renton to shut it down, but he refuses until they're sure they won't die from it. Renton wants to kill the men, but Hannah says they're just her subordinates and wouldn't hurt anyone, though Renton doesn't believe her. Instead, they come up with a plan. Hannah loosely ties Renton to a chair again, then ties herself up and calls the men over. She tells them she knows where the scripts are, so after they free her, she grabs half of them from the safe. Sonny wants to do something about Renton since he saw their faces, but Hannah assures him Renton won't say anything. When she decides they'll take the ARQ with them, Sonny pulls out a gun and kills everyone, revealing he's actually a Taurus mercenary. He takes a walkie-talkie from Kuz's pocket and contacts Taurus to come pick up the ARQ. Renton manages to free himself and tries to get a gun, but Sonny stops him and shoots him. When Renton wakes up again in bed, he tells Hannah that Sonny is a Taurus mercenary and asks her to play along. The men burst in and take him away, while Grimm approaches Hannah. She promises Grimm that she didn't sleep with Renton and asks for 5 minutes alone with him. After the usual scene in the research room happens, Hannah says they should tell Grimm about Sonny, even though Renton doesn't trust him or her right now. She says they'll need all the help they can get. The men hear some noises and go to check on the prisoners. They find Renton is missing, and Hannah is gagged with tape over her mouth. After they free her, she orders Sonny and brother to search the main floor, while she stays with Grimm to tell him about Sonny and the ARQ. Upstairs, Renton is sneaking around and finds brother's body on the floor, having been hit by Sonny just moments earlier. Sonny returns to the research room and tells Hannah and Grimm that Renton killed brother. Hannah doesn't believe him, so Sonny shoots Grimm and demands answers from her. Just then, Renton shows up and knocks Sonny out by electrocuting his face. Renton notices that the ARQ is spinning faster and logs into the computer. His password is September 19th, the last day he and Hannah saw each other. Suddenly, Grimm wakes up. While Renton looks for a first aid kit to help him, brother shows up and shoots Renton. When Renton wakes up this time, he's ready to break a window and leave the house, but Hannah is hesitant because they don't have air masks. Before they can decide, a noise distracts them and they go to investigate. They find Grimm and brother dead in the research room, which means Sonny now knows about the time loops too. Renton realizes that the ARQ is emitting electromagnetic frequencies that can affect memories, and that's why it took so long for him and Hannah to remember the loops. He also figures out that the ARQ isn't creating unlimited energy, but just recycling the same energy over and over. After going to the basement to get the masks and gas, Renton returns and finds Hannah telling him he should give the ARQ to the block to help them win the war. Renton doesn't trust the block, so Hannah asks him to trust her. He makes her promise that if Sunny gets to the ARQ first, she'll destroy it. He also gives her the password to activate the process, which is Sky, the code word he gave her before they were separated. Wearing a mask and his taser glove, Renton heads off to find Sunny holding the gas canister in his hands. In the bedroom, Renton notices the clock is moving faster, and when he checks the closet, he finds Cuz's body. This means Sunny is pretending to be dead in the research room. By the time Renton returns to the research room, it's too late. Sunny is already holding Hannah at gunpoint. Sunny calls Taurus to tell them he has the ARQ and orders Renton to shut it down. Renton pretends to cooperate, but when he gets closer, he touches both the ARQ and Sunny's gun, electrocuting them both. Hannah and Renton wake up again, but this time the men don't come. They go out to investigate and find out that Sunny saved Kuz, and Kuz is now working with him for Taurus. Sunny kills Grim and Brother before locking the door of the research room. Renton takes the opportunity to put a padlock on the door before they leave to carry out their original plan. They turn up the thermostat, put on their masks, and throw the gas canister into the furnace. When they hear a noise coming from the research room, they go inside and find out that Sunny has killed both Cuz and himself to slow them down because Taurus is coming. Renton and Hannah argue again about whether to give the ARQ to the block. Furious, Hannah throws something at the board, cracking it. This gives Renton an idea, and he quickly goes to the computer to watch the strange video again. He notices the board is cracked in the video too. Neither of them remembers making the video, which was recorded just before a reset. The video also shows robots sent by Taurus, so Renton hurries to try to shut the ARQ down. Hannah moves to grab the scripts from the safe, but on her way, she notices that Grim has something in his mouth. She carefully walks over, putting a plastic sheet over the blood to avoid touching it, and finds a small piece of paper in Grim's mouth that says Sky. As she steps off the plastic, her feet touch the blood, which acts as a conductor for the ARQ, electrocuting her. Devastated by her death, Renton decides not to shut down the ARQ and waits for the next loop reset. When they wake up again, Grim and Brother enter the room. Hannah stops them and tells them everything. It turns out they now remember the loops too, so they agree to help. The four of them leave the room and sneak around the house, but Sunny and Cuz are ready for them. They capture the group and take them to the research room. Since Renton won't tell Sunny the password, Cuz starts suffocating Hannah to force Renton to talk. Sunny disables the electrical rigging and pushes Hannah against the ARQ to check if it's safe now. After Cuz shoots Brother for trying to leave, Sunny points out that the ARQ is still spinning and asks Renton to disable it. Renton goes to a switch on the wall and cuts the power to the whole house. He tells Hannah to run. In the dark room, a couple of bullets are fired, and it seems like Grim is killed, but Renton and Hannah manage to escape in the confusion. They make it outside wearing blankets around their heads and taking turns with a small air mask to protect themselves from the polluted air. They notice a black, petrified line on the ground and realize that the time loop ends there. Renton tells Hannah to go to a nearby safe house while he destroys the ARQ, but Hannah refuses and insists on going back with him. They return to the house and hide in a closet when they hear Cuz approaching, calling out Hannah's name. Hannah realizes he's one of the men who tortured her, so she comes out and attacks him. Cuz pushes her off, but Renton quickly jumps on him and punches him. Hannah grabs a jar of kerosene from the kitchen and pours it on Cuz before setting him on fire. Just then, the lights come back on, meaning Sunny has turned the ARQ back on. They rush back to the research room, and Renton fights Sunny until he overpowers him, killing him by smashing Sunny's face against the ARQ. A message comes through Sunny's walkie-talkie saying that Taurus is about to arrive. Renton goes to the computer to shut the ARQ down, telling Hannah that she can take it to the block, but then he notices something. There's an interruption every 9 loops, which creates a pattern. They've already gone through thousands of these patterns, and after each one, their memories are reset, which is why they didn't remember recording the video. Taurus is arriving now in the same way they did to interrupt the video, so Renton and Hannah agree they need to destroy the ARQ. But Renton changes his mind and stops the shutdown process midway because he wants the loop to reset so they can try again. Hannah points out that they've already tried thousands of times, but Renton says this time they can leave a proper message. He records a warning for their future selves just as Taurus robots break in and kill them both. The movie ends with Hannah waking up first before Renton,